the moment.
Has he?
Yeah, he's not picked quite a lot, but the mana buffs to his spells are quite significant.
Yeah, why haven't we seen him more? Because I feel like the second that those changes came in, everyone was talking about some of the items he was going to be able to use, how his mana was actually going to heal. Oh, there is that Deuce. Why haven't we seen more Mars?
He was picked even like a few weeks ago constantly, right? Yeah. And just some other offlaners came into play that are better than him, that are more prominent, that do more. Like Darkseer got buffed out of his mind, and because of that, like sometimes the hero isn't bad. It's just he's just picked way too much that teams understand exactly how to play against it. Plus, some other offlaners are perhaps buffed up and a bit stronger.
It's just one of those things where you actually can play against it. You know, we talk about some of these heroes that are just so strong that it's still difficult to play against them. Even after you have those reps and you have the solution, it's still, the win rate's just not going to be nearly as high. But that Deuce is going to be locked up, and we're going to see another Death Prophet coming out in this game. How are you liking the lineup so far, Slacks, on the side of Cyber Legacy?
Well, Cyber Legacy answers a lot of questions, right? They got a farmer, they got a great support in Rubik to deal with these big ultimates. They've got some nice tower push, but last time we were seeing all of this under the protection of a ranged, carry hero. This time you're pretty much on Sven to do some big work here. It's going to be pretty tough for Sven and Io to really be a threat to that Dusa if we get that late. But Mars, I think, is so interesting because he can be good, but really it's all about unreliability with the spear. I mean, the spear is a great tool to use, but it's just in these chaotic team fights, especially with all these summons lately, it's tough.
Also, one more thing that I haven't mentioned at all, this Mars has been picked up as a third pick after Doom was in the pool already for some time, which means that either the Doom will be mid or played as a position 4 with Mars. Now, position 4 Doom plus Mars, I don't think that's the strongest lane out there. It's not your big combo as well. If you have a Mars, you really want to have another support that dishes out damage in that arena. So maybe the Doom will be mid, but I don't think he's going to do that well versus that Prophet as well, because she loves these beefy boys on the mid lane that she can just siphon out. Yeah. He will find his farm, that's for sure. And I think you bite the bullet, you put him mid, and you get something extra for your team fighting capabilities early on in the game, because you're looking at Wisp Sven plus that Prophet combo. It will be scary early on. And I think that the strategies have completely shifted because of NaVi snatching that Medusa away. The strategies of these two teams have completely shifted, in which Cyber Legacy will be the ones that are trying to fight a little bit earlier. And yeah, they might not have the Alchemist, but the Sven will be the one that just gets a lot of stacks, farms up, and tries to fight as early as possible.
Sure. Do you think Death Prophet comes online early enough to help with that very quickly? I mean, she can be good.
Well, she needs levels, and that's it. Like, you start fighting. Yeah, in that last...
I like the Willow.
Okay, it's old school combo. You have the Dark Willow. Mireska.
Ah, right.
Look at that smile.
That smile. But what's the old school combo, Lizard?
It's the Mars and Mireska, right?
Right.
You pop that arena, you terrorize them, and they just keep on hitting the wall. So
I like, yeah, Willow slows things down, which is pretty good. They don't really have too much reliable catch except for the arena, not a single stun, so they definitely needed something there. It's something that's super important when you're up against like a Sven and a Death Prophet who are either running at you or running around you. I'm not sure if that's enough from the Willow, honestly, but it's still control, which is great.
There's also some other things that you have with that Willow. Once that Sven gets Axe, at least you will have the Shadow Realm, right? So one hero won't be instantly killed by...
Well, hooray! Dark Willow's made it, everyone!
There you go.
Hooray!
Okay, Mars will have his Bulwark or whatnot, which you can't take down. You don't really want to go on Medusa as well because of her ulti.
Sure.
Enchantress has Untouchable, and Doom buys Blink. So you really do have 5 heroes that are strong against that, unless he is just farmed out of his mind and he two-shots everyone like he usually does. They go with the Underlord. All right.
That's the review for Underlord?
Yeah, do you feel like this Underlord does enough, Lizard?
It's interesting. It's picked into a Medusa this time around. They needed some AoE control, which he definitely brings to the table, brings a lot of utility to these team fights. Usually when I see Underlord, it's like this answer to your TBs, your illusion-based heroes, right? That suffer from the AoE, from the Pit of Malice control. not completely sold that Medusa is like that, but it definitely is what Cyber Legacy needed in this last pick. That's this big utility hero that comes in the offlane. Yeah,
I think they definitely need someone to kind of be that frontliner that you don't mind losing. It's a real dumb concept, but you need someone to be able to tank it up and eat some damage so that Sven can get on the target that he wants to. Death Prophet's not instantly bursted down. You see it a lot in pubs with Pudge. That's your big fat idiot that it doesn't matter if he dies or not, but he's taking like the focus. Underlord's great for that in our pro games here. I gotta say though, it seems like one strat is a lot more easy to do than the other. I would say Cyber Legacy, they hit their spells correctly and they do well, whereas NaVi, gotta get the right Willow set up, you gotta get the right Mars set up. It's a lot tougher. And Doom, I mean, what kind of game is Doom gonna have? This shit's gonna be tough for him.
Yeah, I think you actually put it on the table pretty cleanly there, Slacks. I mean, when you look at the Dark Willow, when you look at the Mars, are they going to be able to pull off these major combos? Also, you got to keep in mind, you got two teams that are pretty evenly matched. You saw it on EGB.com. The odds pretty much equal.
Oh, yes.
Look at that, boy.
And we got one team with a pretty easy...
Wow.
Jesus Christ, this production's incredible. Holy God.
He graces us with his presence in the Pantheon. Beautiful.
Imagine going from that shot to going to a close-up of Kyle.
Wow. That would be horrible.
That would
Truly
be horrible.
terrible.
Hopefully that's not what's going to happen right now.
It is.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Thank you very much, Rich. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2, just about to get underway between Cyber Legacy and NaVi. I'm in Pixel here with Kyle. We just seen the picks. What do you reckon, Kyle? It looks like NaVi's got a pretty solid fight around the Medusa. They've got this Mars Willow strat going on. Cyber Legacy a bit more fast-paced. Sven IO, DP again.
I think that NaVi's lineup I think is easier to read, and the synergies, alt people, fear them into the walls, makes sense. But Cyber Legacy have a concept that we don't see too often, but it seems to always be effective, which is focusing on damage mitigation.
Okay.
You have the Fade Bolt, the Sven E Underlord Aura against a spread damage carry. So damage reduction is just super effective. Plus, old Sven, totally owned by Medusa. New Sven, eventually you get nags, you just hop right on top of him, you don't care.
Yeah, that's true. The Yags is definitely going to be a solid answer to this Dusa.
30 seconds to
We'll see what sort of a build-up they can find with it this game as we get into this. Game 2. Cyber Legacy up a game so far in this best of 3. And we'll see if things go a little smoother for NaVi this time round. Did have a great opening in game 1, NaVi.
I'm just concerned about the damage output, because it's not just the damage reduction. You have so much healing coming out. You'll have the Wisp and the DP. You need a Vessel ASAP if you're NaVi. And you've got to do something to slow down Kuman. I expect him to go for that Midas build and just get big. And ultimately, especially with the new Halberd Sven build, I think he can be just fine, even against the Dusa Willow.
Yeah, you're right. That's gonna help him be a really solid counter against the Dusa.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and it's Doom mid as well for for Young G. I don't know if this is really his style, but it's what Navi are going to choose to go
How's
for.
he going to do in this matchup, actually? Because you are now playing a high HP core against the DP with the Siphons. You're a melee hero.
It is not a winning matchup, that's for sure. And Death Prophet also has an easier time pushing lanes, plus utilizes Bottle more efficiently. So should be magical favored. Be interesting to see how he plays this time with a better matchup than the Lina.
Yeah, we'll see. See what Young G's able to do. That's the Doom against him. Look at these side lanes crystallized up top. Last game, we saw him get free farm on the Auk. Is he going to have an easy time here, or are things a little tougher this time round on when he's playing the Deucer against Underlord and Rubik?
Definitely a little tougher, especially once Rubik, Underlord start getting levels. They just push lane into you, and then later on they reduce your damage, thanks to the Aura, thanks to the Fade Bolt, so it's difficult to crystallize. You'll still farm, but you can't really do anything to stop Underlord.
Yeah, we'll see Blizzy. Once he has the Aura points, just have a very favourable time with the CS, getting those denies against the Medusa. And then bottom lane, Bignum and Kuman against the Mars Willow lane. I mean, the Mars Willow lane, this is definitely a killer lane, right? You get the couple of points, the spear, the the Brambles. It's a lot of damage and control. I guess it's just a question of whether Big Num's going to be able to keep Kuman safe and healed up throughout it.
Yeah. They blocked hard camp with a ward, Cyber Legacy rather, and then it was sentryed out by Ilias. It's kind of necessary. You're playing Ench in your own safe lane, but yep, Slayer is going to walk right into the camp. Really well done. And Blizzy was there too if he wasn't able to do so in time. You have to block hard camp against Ench safe lane support.
Yeah, take away one of those strengths that Ilias is wanting to try and play with early on. See bottom. How's the farm looking? Kuman 9 for 10 for 2 against the 8 for 3, so both cores farming decently down here. Top lane. Ilias and Crystallize. Look at the Wall Slayer. Slayer's just going to TP straight back over to the tower. Doesn't want to mess around with them anymore. Indeed, we see Kuman getting the bracer and going for the brown boots into Midas. Same build as he did on the Medusa last game, and this time on the Sven.
Yep. We're back to the old days. When in doubt, as a carry player, just buy a Midas. Pretty much every core in the meta now can utilize it, no problem. Mid lane, as expected, Magical's out to a decent little CS lead, that is, but it's the regen wars he's winning.
Yeah, sure. It's going to get to the point where young Jimmy, you see at the moment, he's only got a Fairy Fire. What have also got on the courier? He's got a Salve coming out. Just some more tangos, so... But still, yeah, Young G's going to be sitting very low in this matchup, whilst the DP is going to be consistently at high HP with the Siphons.
And this is with Ice Ogre armor as well, so arguably the best creep you could eat at this point to try and reduce damage for Magical, who's done a good job. You focus on Harass against the Doom, even into the Ice armor. He's just losing a couple of CS here and there, sure, but it's all about just dealing damage to Young G. You apply so much pressure.
Just getting forced back each time.
Yeah, and you heal he gets so much health out of that. It's effectively 2 tangos of healing every time he gets the drain off, just spamming it off cooldown. Top, really just, oh man, Crystallized 10 and 2 against the 20 and 4 of Blizzy. You can't really blame him necessarily. If you click on Blizzy, his base damage 66 on the Medusa. With just 8 stacks, you have your Underlord at 85. You just can't trade last hits against an Underlord. It's not possible. And honestly, I feel for Crystallized and really his whole side. I haven't been more upset watching a game of Dota since I was playing. And I can't imagine how it would feel to be in the side of NaVi right now. You take what looked like a free win and yet you lose fight after fight and end up losing the game. I don't know. I'd have a hard time recovering. I hope they can.
Trying to go on Kuman. Pasha taking a few tower hits here. Kuman, no stun for 5 seconds though, so Pasha will be allowed to walk away. And we are seeing, even with the combo, just not quite enough to really threaten the Sven. At least not at this point with the levels that they have.
Still anybody's game, but you gotta favor Cyber Legacy, of course, just with the momentum. I'm not a huge believer in it necessarily, but I think negative momentum is certainly a thing. And after that last game, they just played better, right? There's no explanation for how they win that last game other than better play. And Bounty Rune's gonna spawn. I assume Magical will run back for his in the jungle at some point. Young G just gonna farm with creeps, going for the early phase boots. Standard Doom mid build. Don't expect too many rotations from either side, really. You got to Deuce a Sven. They both just want to farm. Underlord not really trying to rotate either. Maybe Pasha will make a play at some point. So far, just trade and farm.
And Crystallize. I mean, I imagine he'll also go for the Midas build this game, right, as the Deucer? After the treads?
I'd say so. It's just such a value item on both these carries.
Yeah.
You just need attack speed, right? And Midas gives you that for free, plus a farming steroid. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Quite able to find the spear connection. And again, even if they do, it's just not really going to be enough to kill Kuman. He's got pretty full wand, and this IO constantly by his side.
Where are you going?
It's not going to do the job as top lane. Bit of an attempt onto Blizzy. Getting a little low here between the two of them. Slayer's able to step back up bottom lane. Pasha actually getting gone on there by the two of them. So it just continues to seem that Kuman and Big Num are actually able to trade better damage onto Pasha and Immersion than Pasha and Immersion are able to do to them with this Mars Willow.
Yeah, it's still even in CS, though. I think both sides probably happy with this. Kuman also just not going for any real fighting items, just rushing Midas. You can see it's a casual bracer. Now there's the face, finished in Young G. Stacks for Blizzy. Going for that off-lane bottle build. It's funny how much Zai influences the itemization meta for the offlaners, because we didn't really see anybody picking up bottle. Now it's pretty common. At least one, oftentimes both offlaners grab one, regardless of hero.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be pretty strong. I mean, you're always going to contest those bounties at 5, so you always get the refill.
Mm-hmm.
And this mid lane, Magical is probably going to start to look for opportunities to get aggressive with the exorcism. This bottom lane, this time they might have just done it. Kuman hit by the Curse Crown. They're going to have the Shadow Realm hit. Can they take him? They can't. Again, the heals from Bignum, just enough to keep that Sven alive. Over towards mid, Youngji is able to drop down the Doom. It's the 6, he's ready to go, runs down Magical and finishes the job.
Nice rotation from Ilias. Just get a little enchant slow off. Bignum's in some trouble.
And they're going to dive in on him. It's going to dodge the Bramble very nicely there with the tether. That will put a stop to the play from NaVi.
Yeah, that's the benefit of the Doom mid, why we've started to see it a bit more. How do you really respond to that as Magical, right? You're winning the lane, sure, but you just get doomed. You know, you're playing on enemy hill, and you get ran at. If there's no TPs coming in, you're going to die every time. Still anybody's game. Kuman moving towards the jungle. And take some stacks.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice.
Mando. Oh, those ones are speeded up. Magical actually going to be able to take down the courier of Youngji. Youngji pretty low, but he's got that haste rune. So easily able to run away.
Rushing the Vessel on the Doom as well. I like that decision. Has the Urn up. Already nice, because he'll likely look to start making plays more often, but you need a Vessel. You're against Wisp DP. It's necessary if you're ever going to start winning team engagements, because Navi's damage output, until Deucer really comes online, their sustained DPS just isn't there. So the Vessel's needed when you assume that this fight will go on for some time. Blizzy still pressuring top. Looks like, yeah, both carries have rotated to the jungle. Iron Talent for Crystallize, will be happy with that. And yep, Treads into Midas seems to be his build as mid gets pushed by Magical. They force Doom off lane.
There we go, back on towards mid. Magical. And Slayer seeing if he could get a grab onto Youngji, but Youngji's away.
Yeah.
Tower goes down.
You take those if you're Magical. A bit of a mistake there by Youngji. He gets the kill, sure, but because he hadn't healed up properly, he had to go back and heal, which means Magical just says, okay, well, you have no Doom, there's no Doom here. I'll pop ulti and get the most important tower for free. This opens up the jungle that Medusa wants to play in for Cyber Legacy to just invade at their own leisure. You gotta feel confident now, and they're just gonna walk straight top. Why not? Nobody's here.
Yeah, no one unlikely to come up to try and defend this tier 1. It's still at full HP, and there's no exorcism for this push. But we'll see if Cyber Legacy do indeed get away with this. Fortification pop. Navi, they're going to smoke. They're going to try and punish this. They've got Doom back online. See if they can get the wraparound onto Cyber Legacy. Who are they going to be able to find to start things on? Blizzy's going to start to find what's going on here. As Immersion's looking for Magical. There's the Doom. Drop down straight away on the DP. Will any sort of save be coming in? They've got the tether. Bignum trying to keep the Death Prophet alive, but there's too much damage coming out on top of the Doom. They finish off Magical. See the rest of Na'Vi now starting to step back with the additional TPs coming in from Cyber Legacy. But they got what they wanted. They're able to kill off the Death Prophet a second time as soon as the Doom's back online.
This is a really nice stack, though, to pick up. Shout out to Blizzy, hooking him up. Kuman with the makeshift God strength, thanks to the DD. Should have the Midas. There it is. 10 minutes 30. Not a great timing, not a terrible one. I think you're still pretty confident. You're ahead of the Deuce in net worth. That's what's key.
Radiant structures.
And yeah, the thing is, with Doom down, you probably just walk back top your Cyber Legacy. In fact, yeah, Magical TP's here. If Doom's dead, just run at towers.
Yeah, just run at the Doom. They've got the pit. Magical with the Siphon, bringing Youngji low. Won't be low enough with the Crypt Swarm, not quite there. Bottom lane, Pasha versus Slayer. Slayer wins. Fate Bolt's back up, and he wins in that attempt from Pasha to try and dive in and kill off the Rubik. Top lane, Blizzy does go down. Magical and Bignum able to turn and take out the Willow in turn.
And a pause.
But yeah, I mean, that bottom lane fight, the Rubik won.
That is a little disheartening if you're Pasha. We kind of built up to the Mars, you know, some slow zooms, some close-ups, only to be dismantled mano a mano by the 4-position support.
Yeah, outdone by the Rubik. It is a master tier Rubik, though. You know,
That's true.
Got to give the respect there to Slayer. This is level 25 Rubik.
Oh wow, you're right. It's a 5-position Rubik. Hey, shout out to Slayer. To be fair, he was, I'd say, the standout MVP from the previous game. His swaps, like
Slayer last game. Yeah,
Crystallize may have helped him out a bit, but Slayer was the one constantly finding opportunities to swap the Alk out of position or to just bait him out of position by pretending he was an easy target, only to, well, die and trade his life for the greater good.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, Blizzy will be back in the game soon. Magical, and when they're back in, Magical's still got the Exorcism. He could pop it here to try and finish this tier 1 tower top. It's NaVi's. We've seen him without the Doom. Unlikely to want to try and turn up to the fights. Still happy themselves to just keep space for the Medusa Crystallize to farm away, but it's just going to be turning into a bit of a farm fest between Crystallize and they've been Kuman Sven as the Midas. The Sven's going to be able to keep on track with the Dusa.
I will.
And what do you want to see from this? You want to see what Midas Echo Ags? Is that sort of the way you're going? Does he need a BKB before he's fighting? Well, see this down bottom. So this is what happened. So Pasha already incredibly low. Finds the arena setup, gets tempted to go in. But Slayer, boom. Fade Bolt up just in time to get the kill.
All right. To your point, I think Kuman is one of the more hero-dependent carries we've got nowadays. His Void, his Sven, his Deuce have all looked really solid. He's a little shaky on some that are more off-meta. For itemization, I think against Dusa, Halberd is really high value. We saw how much NaVi placed importance on the item with 2 of them picked up against the Kuman Deuce in the previous game. So I think we've seen a lot of Midas, S and Y into like Daedalus, Satanic Ags in some order. So I think that would be your standard build, but you could also split into Halberd. I've seen some Svens splitting into Halberd and Manta. It's kind of what he's feeling. But I think Sanjay is likely after the Midas. Echo lost. The problem with Echo is that it's too cheap of an item. Whereas previously it was really nice because you had a need to utilize all your slots. Midas has kind of replaced it as this early accelerator item. And if you were to get it on top of the Midas, 20 minutes later, you're just out of slots and you're selling the Midas to the Echo.
Sure. Yeah, I guess with the exception would be in games where you want to go for that silver edge. But as you say, even then, probably other items that you would want to be fine with as a Sven.
Yeah. You also, we were talking about this yesterday. BSJ was making the point that it typically meant Sven had to buy Blink. Or we saw, if you remember, some games at TI, K1 Ektor from Beast Coast, playing both Wraith King and Sven, would go for Silver Edge instead of Blink Dagger in some games. But because you have Sven Ags now, you don't really need either mobility option.
No, sure.
You have a better one.
They're much less important. And particularly when you have sort of a support that's able to really set you up as well, having the eye up.
Oh, what a glorious beard. Stroke. Oh. I really like that background. I think it's just a bunch of different...
it seems like he's trying to find out, solve a serial murder case.
No, or...
There's like all clippings on some boards, some
cute.
CSI stuff.
I'm a big fan of Polaroid or snapshots, printable photographs, right? Because they don't exist other than on walls. Like you can't share it around on your phone, right? It's only here in the real world.
It's quite the opposite. It does exist. The pictures on your phone, you could argue, do not exist.
Okay, sure.
They're only
you have to
platform.
physically be there in person to appreciate them. It's the same way you like to read real books. And it's tough to get into like reading something on a PC, right? Because how do you differentiate the text on screen from just anything that like some idiot might have written on Reddit?
I think your analogy doesn't really work with books because what books are there physically that aren't digitally nowadays? Like your argument with the photos is different because you're saying these are photos that there's no copies of, right? They're not there digitally. That's why you like them.
Yeah.
That's why you think it's a cool concept. But a physical book is very likely to have a digital equivalent.
Sure, but there's it's cool. Like the best thing to get is like an old book from somebody, right? That like if somebody like loves,
sure, if you get like an old book with like some scribbles in and things.
Not even. It means if a good friend of yours is like, hey, this is my favorite book. I love it. here you go, happy birthday. That's cool because
No,
this
it
person.
definitely has, well, it depends who you're giving it to as well, because some people would appreciate that, and a lot of people wouldn't appreciate that. They'd be like, well, why are you giving this to me? I can just download it on my e-reader.
Well,
it depends who you're giving it to.
That depends. I think that books are one of the only things. It's a much better gift if you give somebody one that is old rather than new. If you get a new book, it's kind of like, oh, so you just had no ideas. You're like, you looked at the bestseller list. You're like, hey, this sounds good. Here you go. Whereas if it's a book I love and I give you my copy, that's a meaningful thing. It also, my eyes, my hands have touched every page.
That is very dependent on how you look at it. Because a lot of people would be like, I really like this book. I want to give it to someone, but I don't want to give them an old copy. I'll make sure that I buy them a new copy.
It's not any old copy.
So then
it's
there
your
isn't
copy.
that, it was a last minute thing. It was just that they actually put in the extra thought and took the time to go out and buy another version of it because they didn't want you to have an old copy.
Maybe.
It just, it depends. There's a lot of different scenarios, Kyle.
What's your favorite kind of gift to receive, Owen?
I'm trying to think. Well, any good presents that I got recently?
It's tough as an adult buying gifts, right?
I'm always a sucker for sort of edible, sweets, chocolate. You never go wrong with that. Someone gets you,
but it's the thing, it's
sort of a care package of chocolates and sweets, and you're like, well, I wouldn't buy this because I shouldn't buy this, and I don't really want to eat this because it's not good for me. But it's you don't go wrong with that.
It's just so much. It was so much easier to know what you wanted even when you were younger. Like I would have been. I remember best gift I ever got. I think it was Christmas 1999 or 2000. N64, 4 controllers from me and my brothers. That was hype. Nothing will ever top that.
No, I mean games consoles for sure. We weren't quite. No, we weren't at the level where we were getting games consoles. It was more the Lego stuff, but that was still
Lego.
Awesome. For me, it was the big Lego sets. I
love Lego.
That would be sort of the pinnacle of Christmas presents.
Yeah, but adult gifts are boring. Like, what do you want? Like socks, underwear, food.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily just down to us being more adult and the age that we are. I think it's just more down to the time that we're living in. Where a lot of sort of value has shifted to things that aren't existent, that are purely digital, and therefore make for much less exciting gifts. At least for us in the video game scene, that's where our value lies for the most part. At least a lot of it does.
You think that's a good thing?
Well, I just think that's how the world is. Nowadays, things change. At least, again, that's just sort of in our circle of video games and the digital lifestyle.
That's true. I would argue we don't have a normal existence.
Well, what is a normal existence?
Oh my God! How long is this pause going to be? I mean, there's no such thing as normal. Technically, we're all living our own unique lives.
Of course.
None of our experiences are replicable. Unless Owen's theory of immortality is correct.
No, I've sort of passed on the theory of immortality.
No?
I don't like that one anymore.
You don't like it anymore?
My theories of existence change with each month. After I read a certain article or book, I'll be like, that sounds cool. I'm going to go with that one today.
Got it. We're still paused.
Apologies for this pause. Hopefully Blizzy's coming back. Did we get a reason? He didn't really say anything in chat.
Let me ask. Production? Do we know
actually, I guess we can't see his team waiting for him. Cyber Legacy's not on the cams, right? It's just NaVi. Yeah. NaVi being nice and patient. Waiting for things to kick back up.
Maybe he just had to restart his computer, and it's just taking a little while. You remember back in the day? Like nowadays, it's with the onset of like SSDs got cheaper, people's PCs are better. But I remember when someone would say like you're raiding with them, and they're like, I got to restart my computer. It's like 10 minutes later they finally come back.
I mean, well, then there's... I guess PCs obviously used to be very slow to restart. And the thing is, that the restart would never be necessarily reliable. You might have to give it a couple of restarts.
The cameras, the continuity is ruined.
What do you mean?
Look. He should be going into the one immediately to the left.
I see you're saying that the order of the cameras isn't the same order they are in the room.
He went from crystallized to immersion.
I see Mag there, watching on. Channeling his thoughts to his players.
God. I mean, what a perfect depiction of coach life. You know what I mean? Players sitting in chairs, focused, uniforms on, expressions serious. Mag, pretty much, he probably was out by the jacuzzi, came back, threw on some flip-flops. Hey, guys, can we win? Let's not blink into the enemy team if we could. Big shout-out to Mag, though. I'm a big fan of his. He's done a lot of good work with NaVi. Ultimately, you cannot control certain factors. If we take a look at the items, both carries. Midas, no huge differences just yet. We're at that phase of the game where things start to happen.
Oh, time is ticking. Blizzy, where is he? Don't want the squad to get in trouble. I don't know what the rules are regarding pauses, but this is definitely reaching one of the longer pauses. How long do you get? Do you know have you read your rule book?
Of course. I think we're approaching the 7-minute 26 mark on this pause. I know every tournament's got a minimum of like 10 minutes of pause time.
Okay.
I don't know what will happen if it continues longer than that, but it is also playoffs. It's an elimination series. And NaVi, some stand-up gentlemen, I'm sure they wouldn't mind to wait. Although, I will say it's a big pet peeve of mine is to be in any sort of situation where rules are up to the teams to enforce.
Well, you were just encouraging that. I was going to say that.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if
You were
that's
just
something
like,
that should happen. Like, it should never be on the team to say, hey, we can stay paused.
A good admin doesn't give those options. But we won't need to give those options today as the pause will come to an end. The game will return. Blizzy's back in. Cyber Legacy. I'll take the tier 1 tower top.
Dire's top tower.
Didn't lose
trouble there.
For a very even game. I think Sanjay will be what's going for Kumin. That's kind of expected. Team fights are going to be what this game's going to come down to, specifically around objectives. Both carries just farming up as fast as they can. Quelling Blade and Iron Talon on Crystallize the value. Better stack those Ancients, though.
Oh. He's got it. He's got it. Yeah. Easy stack. So some very good farm going to start coming out from the Deucer. Same to be said with the Sven. They're going to be keeping pretty even.
Yeah, he went for the max farm skill build as well. 4-4-1-0 with the damage talent. It's very greedy, occasionally risky, but in this case, it's going to work out just fine because your enemy carry is doing the same. It's like watching a match of StarCraft when everybody fast expands. It's like, okay, it's greedy, but you know what? Nothing will happen of it. But we should have a rapidly increasing economy, so we can expect larger team fights with more items faster in the game, which I think after your 100-minute experience on one, you're not going to mind. Oh, Kumin, he's fine.
He's fine. He's away. Young G won't be able to find a Doom on him. Won't want to either. Kumin even throwing Young G the tip on his way out. It's bottom lane. They've got the 3 of them hunting for Pasha. Pasha is going to get caught out by the silence. He's still pretty tanky. Will turn and try and push them back with the spear. The pit's out. Blizzy joining forces as well with the rest of them as the 4 of them appear on bottom. Get the kill. And full hood will be done as well for Blizzy. So really starting to beef up to the point that only the Deucer is going to have that physical damage really that threatens the Underlord in this game.
Vale already picked up on the Willow. I'm glad to see more teams putting an emphasis on grabbing this item early. I think it took a little bit, again, Secret kind of showing the way. It's not magic damage. It's spell damage amplification. It's just 18% more damage. It's just so good. Somebody should pick this item up. I'd say even a higher priority than Drums or Medallion. Oh, Relo? It's top?
Oh, they're going in on the Willow. And they should find him. Immersion. Oh, he's going to go for this. Have they got anything to cancel through it? They don't. So a bit of a wasted relocate there. This won't actually get them anything. And now the IO, he's actually in trouble on his way back. Maybe Bignum. Okay, he's got the tether and the TP. Will manage to get out of there. NaVi were prepared for him on his return. Will play his way out of there.
It's still just a 1k gold lead for Cyber Legacy, but I would say in a slow-paced game like this, I tend to favor the squad that won the previous game because you're just going to be naturally a lot more relaxed. You have no pressure on you. You've got a game. Even if you were to lose, it's no big deal. NaVi are attempting to play mistake-free Dota, and that's the concern. There's a difference between calm and relaxed play and nervous play. And in this case, NaVi don't really have the option of making moves, right? It's Doom, Medusa, Mars as their cores. They're all about big team fights and taking out key kills around objectives, and it's just not a time yet for them to look to make any moves. Fire still nice. I want to see Young G pick up a Wolf Creep ASAP. It's effectively free Venjora for your Medusa, and he's, again, spread damage carry, so super effective.
3 for 3 here, 15 minutes in. What else we got coming up? The mech. The money's pretty much there for Bignum. So the scan comes out from NaVi. They are going to start heading up this way. They do have the Doom. Wanting to try and do something. Pasha is going to be seen here though, so Bignum's going to start to back off. He's got relocate too, so very hard really for NaVi to catch one of the two of them here. Splitting up a little bit as Magical's just going to head into the trees, TP up top. They're just going to let Bignum go down by the looks of it. TPs are coming across, trying to give him a tether target, but NaVi's got more than enough burst to take him out.
And Magical going for the same style here, just saving his gold. Not sure if he wants the Yules or the BKB, so he's damaging his own item progression. But if he were to get a BKB early, which I don't know...
Would you like it this game or not as much as when it did come out to great effect early in the first game?
It's hard to say. You know, you can escape the Mars ulti, which is nice, but if you get doomed, even while BKB'd, can you really commit? Like, it's just tough because you have to get your spells off pre-doom. So that means ult and drain. He'll do it again, though. It's never a bad decision to buy BKB, but it can be suboptimal if the game goes on longer than you want it to, or if you are, you know, responsible for damage output for your team. Of all heroes, Death Prophet's probably the one that can get away with it the best, just because you literally don't care about gold in terms of how it affects your damage output. It's just XP.
Yeah. And when you do see that BKB come out like that, does it sort of say to you that Cyber Legacy do want to try and end it? They don't want to take this late. Like you are doing this because you want to try and finish it early. As we'll see here around the pit. RV trying to set up something, but Cyber Legacy are smoked themselves. Not nearby though. Kuman is pretty alone. As he'll try and continue to farm this area, Navi's still not going to run straight up into them. And in fact, Crystallize, they found him on his own. Have they got any catch though? No, TP's instantly coming in. They can't get a grab onto Crystallize. Now they've got to start being careful. Young G is able to get him with the stun onto Slayer. Slayer will be left behind here by the rest of Cyber Legacy. Is also Magical. He's been found. Pash is able to skip the setup with the arena. Bignum's going to come in with the save though. Relocate takes him out to the side. And the question is if Cyber Legacy wanted to continue to try and fight here, as one of them is going to have to go back, Bignum at least. Do they want to do it, or are they just going to let the IO go? They're just going to let the IO go. They don't want to try and tackle the fight whilst they're down a man.
2k gold lead for Navi now. Their team fight is just too good at the moment. Underlord effectively just pushing top. Sven not ready to get into these fights, and if Magical is the one targeted on, you have defensive reload. You just cannot re-engage. He has BKB very shortly, plus ult ready, so soon Cyber Legacy will want to fight, but Crystallize has the Manta. Scotty next, just want to help kite the Sven, lower the healing. I wonder when CL is going to look to make something happen, though. It's hard to say. I don't really know when. Their draft is, once again, very reactive. And I think Navi may have learned a bit from that previous game. Let's be a little more controlled. And I love that. Ilias taking a wolf creep and putting it on follow for the Dusa. Effectively a revenge.
Yeah. No, I mean, that does just give him a huge boost to the speed he's going to be farming at. That's Magical. Try and find his level 12. That'll be the next big power spike for him when he gets the 12 of the BKB. Kuman, SMY looking for the BKB himself. As Young G also trying to get a BKB over on the side of Navi. So just trying to make sure that in these fights, either core is able to just get their spells off without the threat of being stunned, silenced. Of course, if you are Young G in these altercations, it's a lot of disable from Cyber Legacy.
Pipe finished on Blizzy just for further damage reduction. Seems to be the name of the game so far for Cyber Legacy. But this is the trouble, and this is the danger of playing with the Wisp, is that you need to check so many boxes. Wisp gives you unique mechanics that are not replicable, but a lack of pick-off potential means that this relocate is just not possible to be used offensively. So this is the kind of plays you're going to look to make instead. They're baiting Navi into this fight as they force the Roshan. Ult's popped.
Let's see what Navi can do to push him away. They've got to get in soon. They're playing around with the fear. As Immersion will have that to throw down, but they're kind of taking a little too long to get in on this. Pasha's going to jump and drop the arena, but Roche is already down. Aegis has been picked up by the Sven. They're moving in with the Stone Gaze. Crystallize trying to do the damage, but Magical, his BKB's already off. He's going to turn. It's going to be the Stolen Doom. Slayer dropping the Stolen Doom down onto the Medusa. He's in trouble. This Deuce is going to go down. Kuman gets the double kill. Young-G will find at least the Underlord. But as you said, yeah, even that was denied away from them. Na'Vi get nothing. They get absolutely nothing.
Did he doom the Underlord? Wow. I mean, well played, Cyber Legacy. You pop big spells, you go for the play, and
yeah, it was. The Underlord did get doomed. He was the doom target.
But then you gave it away. I mean, Na'Vi, that fight worked. You need to use your ultimates in conjunction. If you Arena, you saw both cores just face away from the Deuce ult, so 2 ults wasted. Now it's just a Willow trying to throw out a naked disengage. It's not going to work. Doom stolen. Arguably, though, like you took that fight after Aegis is picked up again into the ultimates. Into the ultimates, Owen. They're still running.
And that was a painful set of events for Na'Vi. As Kuman next fight comes around, his BKB is going to be done.
Oh my god, I still 2k goldie for Na'Vi, but that is a huge fight loss because they lose the Medusa. He takes over first place net worth on the Sven and BKB Magical. I mean, it just feels like a repeat of the last game where Cyber Legacy, in the event, you give them a 5-on-5 fight and you charge at them with their ults running, yes, they will win the engagement. You just have to be more disciplined if you're Na'Vi. And it's just so dangerous also fighting into choke points against this Underlord. You saw the pit come down right at the entrance to the pit. Pasha wants to engage, but he doesn't feel like he can because he's forced to walk through it. And you have Blink on Pasha and Blink on Doom, so it's quite necessary if Na'Vi are going to win fights to get the engage. They're the ones that have to jump, hopefully find a pick off initially, and yeah, love it. Blizzy, Halberd straight away, just run at the Dusa, reduce his damage, disarm him, do whatever you can, because if you look at Na'Vi's lineup, he is really their only source of sustained DPS in fights.
Yeah, they've got to keep their Dusa alive and able to hit. Well, that Dusa, the fights just fall apart with time being given for Kuman to go target to target.
Oh
That's the Ag's done. So
22-30.
yeah, this Sven's going to be in the faces of the whole team and Na'Vi.
It's such a good item. And as Brian mentioned yesterday, it also doubles the cast range of your stun.
Oh yeah, you're coming in from a mile off.
Oh yeah, if Dusa can attack Sven, Sven can jump on top of Dusa, and they're just going straight for it. I love it. Get aggro. You're so powerful right now. You've got the Aegis, you've got ults ready. Doom's still available for Slayer for just a few more moments. He wants to find somebody. Looks like he's going to lose it.
Ooh. Magical does show, so unlikely to step out of the base now. And yeah, Cyber Legacy, no, they're just going to reveal themselves. Keep the pressure on with the creeps pushing in mid. Also bringing the creep wave around down bottom. They can look to try for the tier 1.
6-6, 23 minutes in. You can feel the tension in the air. Neither one of these sides really looking to make any super risky maneuvers, but it's CL, it feels like. They're the ones making the plays, right? They took the Roche fight. They made the smoke move aggressive into enemy jungle. I have yet to see Na'Vi take the initiative, and in order to win the game, with the way that they've itemized, it feels like that's what they're going to have to do. Maybe delay, you're playing into BKB Death Prophet, you have an Aegis on Kuman. It's not the right time, but when will the right time be? That is going to be the question. Butterfly soon to be completed on Crystallize, that's nice. No MKB anytime soon for the Sven, so Crystal should have a pretty sizable advantage. But remember, Butterfly against Death Prophet, not ideal. The ghosts don't miss.
And so these passive moments, Na'Vi is farming it as a whole a little bit better. Young-G just having that buff as the Doom. It's allowing him to stay ahead of the farm of Magical. His BKB is now done. He's got to find those targets. I mean, if you are the Doom, like, who is it you're just trying to jump on in these fights? You're just trying to get the DP before anything goes off? I mean, who's sort of the dream target for Young-G?
One of the big cores before they cast a spell. I think in this case, because Sven has the Aegis, in a perfect world, he pops ulti, then you kill him, or you just doom him, take him out of the fight before the ulti, and go for the Death Prophet. But that's easier said than done. And wow, the Aegis fades. We have literally not seen action for 5 minutes, but it feels like that was like a really fast respawn. Wow.
Yeah, it's just 6 for 6 at 25 minutes in. Yeah, this is definitely one of the lowest action games we've had at this point. 6 for 6.
Compared to the previous. This is a bloodbath. Hang on, we might have the fight now. Magical's in a little bit of trouble. And Ilias is going to break this. Okay. I'd prefer if one of my Blink initiators was the one diving headlong, but...
Yeah, I've got 2 of them. Youngji and Pasha.
And Halberd on the Underlord. That's key. And you're going to have a Glimmer on Slayer coming up shortly too. It's going to be a nice item here. NaVi, you're going to need to be careful about having detection on one of their 2 melee initiators. And yeah, I'm a little concerned for Crystallize. This is Butterfly. It's nice. It gives you a ton of base armor and optimum damage output. But Scotty is really nice to kite these melee cores. However, you might just think that that's a worthless endeavor when you consider Sven already with an Axe. He's just going to hop on him regardless. And the push coming out from Cyber Legacy. Tier 2 bottom already dead.
Here we go. This top tower. NaVi able to push in. Claim an objective without any sort of fight kicking off. Cyber Legacy still avoiding. Loads of stun on DP. And BKB, it's going to be there. Yep. BKB for Kuman on its way out.
And you do not have a method of kiting him. Once he picks that up, it's very dangerous for NaVi. You know, there is a downside to the Death Prophet Sven. If your ults aren't active, neither core can really deal damage. We saw that as, you know, part of the reason that game yesterday took so damn long. However, if you're the ones and you're playing a slow game like this, it's definitely a benefit because you can wait for these key items, you can wait for your timing, and then go make a move. Lotus Orb, as you said, and an Essence Ring on the Death Prophet, arguably the best neutral to pick up tier 2 for the hero. And Kuman is still fat. Crystallize, literally spitting distance, just 12 gold separating these 2 players. And they... Look, yeah, the Doom factor, you can see is net worth in comparison to Magical. That's just Devour gold.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the Doom, yeah.
So the 3k gold for NaVi is just kind of the nature of the heroes, but still as close to even as you can get. Anybody's game, it's nearly 30 minutes and it's 6-6. That is crazy. When will these teams fight? Cyber Legacy right now. Love the timing.
There we go, Kuman. How's he going to start things? Always popping the God's Strength, looking for a target. They found the Deucer. They found the Deucer on the front. The Doom's come out, but the God's Strength's already there, so this Sven's still happy to fight. Deucer will run. They turn over towards Pasha. Pasha goes down. The fear will push them back. This Sven, he could continue to try and chase Youngji if he wants. Youngji, he's able to get up to the high ground. There's going to be a buyback from Pasha. The Doom has come to an end, so this Sven, he's ready to go back in. The Deucer's still there on the front line. Kuman's able to go straight in onto Crystallize. Crystallize goes down. Youngji, he came back in the fight, but his BKB's already been used. The Doom is dead. Pasha will also fall. That's a dieback on him. I mean, all 3 cores, they're dead for a minute. None of them have buyback.
They're going for Ilias now, too. They reload down bottom to find him, but I think he glimmered and got out. What the decision-making, Owen? I just don't get it. You can see there the downside. You're turning to fight as Crystallize into melee range Death Prophet. Ghosts don't miss. You're just tanking the drain. You don't do enough damage. They doom the Sven after BKB and ultimate. They're just going to push.
I mean, they are. There's no buybacks. You're out your Medusa and your Mars for 40 seconds. That's long enough for damage to be done here. 29 minutes. Cyber Legacy just coming in with that one move. Opens up the game for them to take a set of racks here, pre-30 minutes. They're actually turning from war, even maybe in... Looking over towards the Dark Willow. Silence comes out. Kuman. He's not going to dive with the stun. They're just going to stay to the objectives. See if they want to try and stick it through the fortification. 10 seconds until backup's in. They're pushing on. They'll put the war cry. I mean, Kuman's got BKB. He's got God Strength ready to go again in 10 seconds. He could fight again. They'll play it safe, though. They're just going to get everybody out of there.
Love it.
And they're out. They're out and away. Good damage has been done to the tier 3, and they got the melee racks mid.
Straight up, Cyber Legacy is just playing better. I'd love to see a replay if we've got one of just how Crystallize found himself in that position, because ultimately NaVi were forced to fight, but not the second time.
No, he
but
came
the
back
first time. He walked up the hill and he just got immediately blasted by the Sven. We were like, oh, this is a good fight for Na'Vi. They just got away. The ult was popped by Kuman, but they take it anyway. They even force the buyback, and Pasha ends up going down twice. Suddenly, full control of this game in the hands of Cyber Legacy. There's the MK. Oh, no, not quite. Soon. 500 gold away from the MKB on the Sven. And then that butterfly on Dusa is thoroughly useless, as it will have no effect whatsoever on both enemy cores. And Pasha, it's just don't know how you make plays at the moment. Everybody on the side of Cyber Legacy very tanky, and they're just playing better. Their movements are in rhythm. They have a Rax. You just wait for next ultis. You know, if Na'Vi were to make a play, it'd be now with no DP ultimate, but it's not something they're comfortable doing.
Na'Vi, I mean, their next move, what is it to be? I mean, can they themselves smoke out and try and get active with the Doom at the front? Or you know, is this actually going to be a game where if they do sit back and wait and give Cyber Legacy all the chance to make the moves, that they are going to fall behind? Or can they try and sit back on this? We'll see this again.
Yeah.
So this was the start of it all. You get the Doom onto the Sven, but he did already get the BKB and the God Strength out, so as you see...
But watch, Crystallize runs back in. You're gone.
Is right. He's back by the tier 2. Now he's coming back in.
And they run back in. They buy back on Pasha. No Mars ult, no Doom, no Medusa ult.
He's just right in. He's just ended up right back in front of the whole squad.
They were out. Like, you got the spells.
He was further out than any of the other members of NaVi at the start of that. He was away, crystallized, but the call was made from NaVi to get back in and fight, and it did not pay off at all.
Roshan up, ult's ready. Don't do it again.
I mean, Na'Vi,
don't do it again.
Gotta let this go. You can't contest Rosh here. It's pretty much impossible. There's God Strength for the BKB on Kuman.
Don't do it, Na'Vi. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
They're gonna do it.
No, they're not doing it. They're not
gonna do it.
It's far too late. Now, definitely don't do it now. As Roshan has gone.
They're doing it.
Pasha's been caught. You got the Sven going in. Na'Vi still playing around. I mean, you gotta run. You run. Run. Get out of it.
Oh my God, Crystallize. Oh my God.
Well, Pasha should be fine here. No other stuns. Oh, but, definitely living on the edge there, Na'Vi.
There's no decisiveness. There is no thing worse in Dota than to have two plans. Better to have everybody follow a shitty plan than to have two great plans and choose neither. You cannot keep getting caught being indecisive. Na'Vi are playing not just reactive, it's frenetic, whereas Cyber Legacy, they're following the script.
Oh, Chungji. Gonna go in on this, and Blizzy, he's just gonna go out. Take Slayer back with him. Get everybody out of there. No point in Cyber Legacy taking a bad fight there. They'll reset, make sure they can get good use out of the Aegis and the cheese.
You always feel good as a Sven if you're comfortable backpacking your BKB for better Midas timings. Satanic the next up.
Kuman just remaining enormous here.
Yeah. I love this from Magical. Max efficiency. You have the Essence Ring, and then you swap it in for the Paladin Sword after you use it for optimum lifesteal with your drains. And the cheese that he also has picked up. Na'Vi, you still have tools to win the game. You just got a Doom Death Prophet pre-ultimate. That's how you win a fight. Everything else, kite the Sven, but that's a lot easier said than done when you consider he's got both Ags and a Wisp tethered to him. Shout out to whoever made that cute fan art top of Reddit right now. I think it was tethered to an Ursa, but I'm going to pretend it was this thing.
Cyber Legacy, they're smoking up. They want to try and do something with the Aegis cheese. 10 seconds till Exorcism.
Dire's top tower has
It's top lane. I mean, whilst they're sort of looking for spokes mid, they're also getting towers top. A tier 2 goes down. BKB is done for Pasha, so he'll have a little bit of a better time when he looks to jump in and start things off with the arena. Shiva's Guard also coming to a completion for Young G. Crystallize. Where's the back? He needs help. He needs backup.
What? No.
He needs backup. The team's got to get over here. It's not going to get over. He's dead. He's not got buyback. He is out of the game. He's not got the money, and also didn't get to use his Midas. I think his Midas literally was off cooldown as well. So a lot of bad things happening there for Crystallize. Very, very bad things. He's gone. They haven't got a carry for a minute, and Cyber Legacy, they've got everything. They've got God Strength. They're into the base.
They took the fight close enough that they can still use their ults and push. Like, what? I'm not even going to comment. Let's move on. Courier's killed by
Hey,
Pasha,
they got the moonshot.
but... Oh, the War Stomp steal is actually so sick, but they're just pushing base. They don't care.
Taking a second set of racks here. No buyback on the Medusa. Oh, that's a dead edge.
Okay.
Or maybe not. Yes, it is. Arena's out. They dropped the Doom on the Underlord. Underlord has been doomed.
Not calling an Uber now.
Kuman is going to charge across, looking towards the Doom himself. A spear will push back the Sven. They've lost Immersion. Immersion will buy back. Ready to lead in again. Cyber Legacy still trying to finish off these racks. They've got 20 seconds still to do it. And they'll get them. Melee racks are gone. Cyber Legacy got what they came for. Also getting 2 buybacks out of Na'Vi. They can just reset, take it easy, wait for the ults to come back again. Do the same thing down bottom. Oh, they actually caught. Whoa. Wow. I mean,
Oh, this is...
I mean, yeah, you could kind of sense that things were going very, very badly in there, in sort of the camp of Na'Vi.